But we begin with the stock market struggling to get back on its feet this morning following the biggest sell-off we've seen since 2020. This is a live look right now at the Dow, which is down more than 2.5% in the red again today. That's equal to $1 trillion in value. Adding to the uncertainty, China announced new retaliatory tariffs of their own in response to President Trump's tariffs. So I want to bring in CBS News contributor JD Durkin, who's live at the New York Stock Exchange. JD, I'm just looking behind you at the scene. I mean, when I started working on Wall Street in 1990, it was a very, very different scene back there. It looks so different now. So let's set the expectations for today. They were already low. Then the breaking news early this morning that China was doing those retaliatory tariffs, threw things into a tailspin. What are you thinking is going to happen over the course of the next day?
Yeah, Vlad, and now we're seeing the president kind of fire back and post on Truth Social within the last few hours saying this is basically a drastic misstep in response from Beijing. But of course, as you correctly laid out here, I mean, this is just, it seems like sell-off after sell-off right now, given all of the uncertainty. On the one hand, perhaps you could argue at least we got some answers from that Rose Garden presentation a few nights ago. But just, when you consider how many companies have revenue exposure to other parts of the world, especially China, right? You're talking tremendous downward pressure and really a loss of trillions of dollars for companies like Apple, Tesla, Qualcomm, even Caterpillar, a great American brand out of Texas that makes so much of its revenue up to 10% out of China. All of that uncertainty is going to weigh on investor sentiment, on business confidence overall. And you're seeing that reflected with these big red numbers on the big board here at the New York Stock Exchange this morning, Vlad.
We showed President Trump's whatever they call it now, tweet, X, what it doesn't seem to register with people who are supportive of this and against what China is doing is that Xi Jinping doesn't have to worry about elections. Members of Congress do in just 2 years, as you know. So we already saw historic single-day losses yesterday. The question becomes, even with this better-than-expected jobs report that came out earlier this morning, we're still seeing the market down 2.5%. How long can we expect that this volatility will last? Because it strikes me that given that this is the most volatile we've seen it since the start of the pandemic, that people feel the same way that they did when we were in the midst of the pandemic when it comes to investing.
Yeah, and I think the big challenge back then in March of 2020 was that we just simply did not know what the future would hold, how quickly vaccines could get rolled out, and really what a once gunked up supply chain would look like to try and get it back on the rails. Not the exact situation this time around, Vlad, but the same level of uncertainty, I would argue. If I were to ask 10 people down here on Wall Street, when do you think all of this is going to play itself out? I'd probably get 20 different responses. And I think the big challenge for major companies and publicly traded corporations that are trying to issue their forward-looking forecast and their guidance for future quarters is that they still don't know. And one of my big questions is, to what degree is the president willing to get concessions from some of these other countries and hopefully be able to relax some of these newly announced tariffs, right? Can he get concessions on things like fentanyl over the northern border with Canada, helping stem the flow of illegal immigration from Mexico? Maybe, and this has been suggested the last few days, the president is putting pressure on Beijing to try and make a TikTok deal, being the ultimate negotiator in chief. But ultimately, these are all just questions and speculations, Vlad, and it becomes very difficult for these corporations to try and give investors any sense of confidence about what the road looks like ahead, even if today's jobs report, at least that top line figure, was better than expected. Right now, one trader down here told me, hey, the jobs report's just a drop in the bucket, given how much other volatility and uncertainty there is right now rocking the markets.
All right, JD Durkin reporting from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange for us. JD, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is following the latest on the tariffs from the White House for the political perspective. So Natalie, these baseline tariffs are set to go into effect tomorrow. Reciprocal tariffs April 9th. World markets are reacting again today after a devastating day on Wall Street. How is the Trump administration defending this?
Yeah, and so far, Vlad, we have this new tweet from the president responding to China's plans for retaliatory tariffs. You alluded to it earlier, but he said China played this wrong. They panicked. The White House also touting the better than expected jobs report. Of course, those are March numbers, but saying that, investors are investing in the United States. This has been the goal of the administration to try to bring more manufacturing manufacturing jobs here. Various administration officials have been downplaying the stock market plummeting. That includes Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who spoke to reporters while traveling for NATO meetings earlier this morning. He basically said that what we saw yesterday, since he was talking before the opening bell today, he said yesterday was a reflection of a dramatic change in the global order regarding trade. Here's more of what he had to say.
Businesses around the world, including in trade and global trade, they just need to know what the rules are. Once they know what the rules are, they will adjust to those rules. So I don't think it's fair to say economies are crashing. So the president rightly has concluded that the current status of global trade is bad for America and good for a bunch of other people, and he's going to reset it, and he's absolutely right to do it.
And Secretary Rubio is saying that he believes the president is right to do that, that the United States has to get back to making or manufacturing all of these products. That has been a key argument by the administration as they've been out here with various administration officials on camera trying to defend what's happening, saying that this is a long-term tariff strategy. And right now, the markets are just this snapshot in time.
We want to turn to the other big news, Natalie, coming from the White House. The Trump administration has fired the head of the NSA and U.S. Cyber Command. Why did he do this, and what do we know about how he came to make this decision?
Yeah, well, to be clear, Vlad, the administration has not given a reason for the firing. We've reached out to the NSA, the White House, the Pentagon, no official comment. But what is interesting is we know that President Trump had a meeting with controversial right-wing personality Laura Loomer this week at the White House. And while he has downplayed, he was asked by reporters, he downplayed the influence of Loomer on recent firing decisions at the National Security Council. He said that it's his right, really, to fire everyone. It is notable that Loomer herself posted on social media today criticizing this general, the head of the National Security Agency, who we learned was just fired, General Timothy Ha. She criticized him as a appointee by former President Biden, said that President Trump needs someone that he can trust. We know that following this Loomer meeting, several staffers of the National Security Council were also fired. Again, President trying to distance himself from Loomer having influence on that, but it is notable that this meeting occurred. I also want to mention that top Democrats on the House and Senate Intelligence Committees are slamming this decision to oust NSA Director General Ha, saying that, we face unprecedented threats regarding cyber. He was also the head of Cyber Command. This does not make the United States safer, they argue.
All right, Natalie Brand reporting from the White House for us. Natalie, thank you.